Okay, well, welcome everybody to this week's Talk with Doc. Excited for today's talk. It's going to be a great one. Our guest today is Andrew Arboe. He is with Driving with Autism and a self-advocate. And our talk is on driving with autism, and it's going to be a great talk. I'm really looking forward to. Before I let Andrew introduce himself, let me just let everyone know who is on live with us with our Zoom. You can go ahead, put any questions you might have in the chat or in the Q&A on Zoom. If you're watching live with us on Facebook Live, you can go ahead, put your questions in the comment section, and we'll be following those. And we'd love to take your questions live today, as we're expecting to have a lot of good conversation. We've already got several people on live with us, so looking forward to having a great talk. So with that, Andrew, let me kick over to you. Welcome, and let me let you introduce yourself and tell everyone about you and what you do.
All right now, and I've shared both of my pages, and good timing, so you
Perfect.
Can create quite nicely. But yeah, I am the founder of Driving with Autism. I'm pretty much a online program in all 50 states that helps with driver prep, and our main goal is to help autistics get their license and connect families and others as well to local services around the country.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, let's just back up a little bit. Why don't you tell everyone a little bit about yourself and how this even came to be?
Well, the question for sure. A lot of it started just because I was kind of looking for transportation options like a couple years ago, like around 2017. Been actually almost 5 years now, which is kind of nuts. I was about halfway in my community college experience. I was going for my associates in disability specialist. And when I was about halfway, I realized I needed a license. A lot of the jobs required like a license or a certain mileage. I searched around for Connecticut for regarding, I guess, autism and driving stuff. There really wasn't. There was not a lot out of there. And then even for transportation stuff that's out there, my state is all over the place. Like if you go to the east side of Connecticut, if anyone here is familiar with that, the east corner of Connecticut is pretty much driving only. Not a lot of choices out there. Unless you want to take a bus to a casino, we have Foxwoods over here. Like there's not, but some places, districts in the state don't really have a lot. And I was starting to get more restricted what I can do with public buses, which I used for a while. I'm not to Foxwoods, just kind of more schooling to my job. So it became urgent that I needed the license. So, and then the other barriers that came up from both kind of from my own self, and then obviously resources in the state because it's all over the place. Like even my state's special education conferences and workshops I attended, they didn't mention a single thing about driving. Not a single thing. I've been to each and every one because, state's person that's like fresh out of college, fresh during and also out of college that time. It's like absorbing everything as it could go, and there was not a single thing. So there was like I had to kind of improvise on a lot of things, and also my dad, my dad and me had a lot of anxiety just because of those lack of resources.
Sure.
And it took my dad a long time to kind of go over it, but now it's a lot better. And now he just advises me when weird weather comes up. At Connecticut, we have our mix of snow, the weird rainstorms from time to time. New England, pretty much in a nutshell. So after I got my license, I wanted to create a resource. So I made a PowerPoint based on my own story. Wanted something intended just to present at schools and that. So at least I could kind of change a little bit at the time. Even if it was like a minor thing, it would just make me happy regardless. Eventually, I finally presented it, and I was able to get like 30 people to attend. Like 1 or 2 companies also showed up as well because it's rare for someone to actually talk about this topic in Connecticut. This was back in 2019, 2018. I got my license, so it's almost been a good 3.5 years of driving. Wouldn't mind being instructor, but I need more years. and some of they have those requirements, especially if one wants to go to a driver rehab specialist. So like after like the last year or two, I kind of partnered up with a local driving school for the autism program for a while. I was starting to get a desire. I wanted to do more in all 50 states, wanted to kind of branch out, do my own thing. I left the said school and came in last year in December, came out with autism and driving. Driving with autism. This is what happens when you use so many words all at once. And I use
Yeah, oh,
autism and
you're all
driving so
good.
often, like it happens.
Yep. No, it's all good. Well, this is a huge thing that is very needed. And I know we've got several listeners on right now who are watching and listening. And as we've been promoting this, we've had a ton of people just share with me how they couldn't wait to hear today's talk, because it's something they've really been concerned about and caring about with that. And so as you said, you have autism yourself. You're a huge self-advocate for this. You had that need that you needed to get around and learn to drive. And you're based out of Connecticut, but why don't you actually take a little bit and share with us about this program that you've now created, and how other people can get involved in that, and what we can do if we have a child or an individual with autism that we want to help them get to drive.
All right, great questions. Pretty much, again, it's an online program, so it was not like an in-person piece. I wouldn't mind doing in-person classes. It would probably be more in the New England side. I don't know if I can fully justify driving through multiple states, and especially if the gas prices everywhere. Just
right.
My wallet will be pretty broke, at least gas money wise. So yeah, not a thing, but maybe down the road. Just depends on life, I suppose. But on our main program, we do a webinar series. Webinar series that tackles driver prep, where we kind of let people know what the expectations are for looking at driving. I start with motivation, why motivation matters for drivers, because if a driver doesn't have a reason why to drive, what's the point? What's the point? So I go over that. I kind of go over why transportation is important, and it just sets up the whole presentations because it's about 7 topics, one each week, for the upcoming spring, which starts in May 12th. It goes over each one. It's each Thursday at 6 o'clock Eastern time, because I think this is central, pretty central. So
right.
It's about an hour, right. About an hour each. 30 minutes is the materials itself, and then I have a Q&A session. And each one goes over various topics. Like I have a parent involvement section. That one I go over my dad's experience and what parents can do to be more supportive on their new person who wants to drive. I also go over other topics like IEPs, if one's able to add goals into IEP that relates to driving. And also if IEPs can't do a lot, like they'll be able to still do something about that. And then I do go over specific driving situations. I go over driving situations, just regular situations like a battery failure. I use my own car as an example. I had it happen to me several years ago. Scary as it is, like actual pictures. Well, I was at a stoplight, just to let people know I wasn't just taking pictures while driving. I advise against that. Please don't do that.
That's right.
But it was kind of like a scary situation. So, and I also go over traffic accidents and that one. So I try to do practical situations that can happen to any driver. And that just go over them. Because a lot of materials I offer is solutions based. Like if there's an issue, there's a way to solve it. Basically, what happens when one person watches too much Bar Rescue and became instantly inspired by it. Like I just really admire just the solutions approach in that show. Yelling is entertaining, by the way. I don't do the yelling in the actual presentations. Don't worry. But the idea of just solution space, it really appeals. I really imprint that and know the whole series. I go over the sensory needs because sensory is very important. Driving's filled with sensory reasons, especially because world conditions can add to that. The potholes, the bumps, the lever, traffic, especially if you're in some notorious highways. Like, there you go. And then I go over other topics, policing, that one, police interactions, what to do Also solutions based, because it's very easy for that topic where you could kind of victimize people. But not here. We focus on what people can do. We go over kind of scripting, like a little practical. What happens if they give you a ticket? Like a more vaguer ones, but also in kind of imprint ideas where what else they could do that kind of help memorize this and kind of make their communities better. And then I go over
Right.
financial basics. My employer helped out in that one. You'll also hear me complain about tires on and off. So I do have a personal experience, and also co-paying a new car several years ago. So again, some personal experiences as well. And then the last topic just goes over pathways of what people can go to. Like they could go to a regular driving school, an active driving school, alternative transportation if things don't work, or maybe they feel like they're not ready but still want to do education piece and do something for the time being, which happens. And yeah, but everything else is just kind of open-ended to what the person wants, because end of the day, we want the driver to attain their license and be able to be empowered by whatever path they choose. So they come up with an action plan at the end. And then afterwards or during that, it's up to whoever signs up for the program. We help them find local resources in their area, which could be a driving school, it could be just anything, or just brainstorm ideas of where they could go to, like reasons to be at places.
Yeah. Awesome.
Pretty much in a nutshell.
Yeah, no, that's great. Andrew, I've got our first question for you. Diane sent in the question, and probably a great starting point. What is the best way to prep someone who's on the autism spectrum for the driver's permit test? So even before you get in the car, her son, she's having a hard time getting them prepped for the test. There's a lot of anxiety over that and just being ready for the test. Do you have any suggestions and prep for that?
Oh, really good question. I actually touch on the driver's permit content and the IEP ones because even in my schooling, several years ago, my post-high school program had me do some permit test ones, along with some golf cart riding with a job coach, mind you, because obviously they have to have a professional be there. And it was one of the rare job sites where they could have some sort of driving element like that. Still don't know how that happened, by the way. They just had me drive around supervised again. But for the permit test, one of the things I recommend is look into the wording style on what type of questions like the person has trouble with. If it's like a science thing, to be able to look around that. One website I really like is drivingtest.org. It's online about
drivingtest.org?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like it's online. You could do all 50 states. And a lot of the questions have like pictures. So it's a very practical, and they have a variety of questions that deals with any sort of driving stuff, driving concepts, situations, signs, even walls. Like it does all 50 states. I find that it's a source I cannot recommend enough.
Wow.
But yeah, but and the main end is just kind of finding the questions I have trouble with, and I don't know if this person may have tried it numerous times. I don't know if they had like a failed test experience or still waiting. So it's the very first experience. Just basically just know what kind of wording style does studying better a specific way, and go from there. Again, for the parents, they know their persons better.
Yeah, no, that'd be great. That's fantastic. So, and I've got one of our, people are here. They said they've got a great place that helped them here and locally in the greater Kansas City area, and we'll get their name to help with the testing. As far as actually learning to drive now, another question that is brought up, do you find it better to when they've got an instructor in the car with them helping you to learn to drive when you have autism? Is it best that person is not a family member when you're dealing with someone with autism, or is it best that it is a family member?
Very good question. And one of the things that I will say that each person has their own very specific needs. So like my own experiences, I had an instructor, I used my dad. But I can only speak from my own experience. Like I can't force you, I can't force the audience
Right.
on a specific choice. It has to be up to them. And I know people that do well with parents. Well, I know it sounds like almost sounds like the impossible, right? Stereotypically speaking. But it just they have to do what makes comfort for them. If they do better with siblings, so be it. And if they need the instructor, that's also it. So it's like kind of keep yourself open. And at the end of the day, just a new driver like has to be comfortable with whoever is with them. If they're not comfortable, how in the world are they supposed to learn lessons? Like
Good
if they
point.
feel like they just want to do parents, don't say an issue as long as nothing bad happens. And as long as they get enough out of that where they can go from the first step to the next step, hey, all is well.
Right. So for you, Andrew, when you were learning to drive, what was the biggest challenge for you in your process?
I mentioned state resources because it was like basically none. And the other one to mention is just anxiety from my dad, which heightened my own anxiety because I was self-aware, and that kind of interfered a bit. I guess driving concepts, which I guess is the answer. Guess what question that you're asking. For that, couple that's difficult is just finding the time, just finding the routine time because I drove one on the weekends because I did part-time job during the weekdays along with part-time school. So I was pretty busy for the most part on the weekdays when I was practicing. There might be one or two rare occasions, but on the most part, not really. Also, my dad works like full time, so again, not really hard to pull off the circumstances.
Yeah.
So I had to make the weekend work. And then for actual driving, then for driving concepts, I'm just backing into a parking spot. I really prefer to pull in and reverse out. Much more control. It just makes more sense for my mind. Like I could probably pull off the back end, especially with all the cars have the cameras now. But if I were to do it with the regular, just kind of looking like this, it's like I think just the mind just too abstract for me. Like I have the idea of the steps to do, but it's like I can't get into it. And again,
Yeah.
obviously, I had to work around that just because all road tests you have to you have to like
Right.
it's more mandatory when parallel parking.
Right.
Some DMVs it's not required, but others it is. It is kind of one of those things.
Right. I don't think you're alone on any of those things. I think we have a lot of people who are not on the spectrum who don't like to back into a spot, and they definitely don't like to parallel park. So
One of
you're
the
not
ones
alone there.
I'm sorry, I really have no opinion on parallel parking. I don't really have to use it. And if
Yeah.
I ever was in an urban setting, and because I pretty much know what routes I want to be, I just use a parking lot and just using my getaway inside that setting, and also my way of just getting out of there, just getting out of there. It's actually a topic that I'm hoping to publish and have a blog page on Driving with Autism. And I recently did one on urban settings. I'm hoping I can get that out on a timely fashion.
Yeah.
We have a blog
Yeah.
post. We have newest driving times up. So, but yeah, one of our resources that we have on our website. So please do check it out. I try to do all our
Cool.
daily content as possible, or at least daily weekly content as possible.
Yeah, Brent just shared as well, one of our listeners, that he doesn't think anyone likes parallel parking. I'll agree there. I'm not a big fan of parallel parking either. I'll look for another spot if I can help it with it. So I've got another question that came in. One of our dads has asked, his son is an older teen, has learned to drive, and actually does a good job with it.
All right,
However,
nice.
he refuses to drive. He has autism. He refuses to drive because whenever he gets on the road, it's all the other crazy drivers out there really bother him. Do you have any recommendations for dealing with someone who doesn't really know how to deal with the crazy drivers that are out there? You might be real safe and real cautious, but there are those
Every driver is
drivers
different.
everybody's different. You've got those who might be cutting you off or doing things that shouldn't and might raise someone's anxiety level. How can we help someone in that situation?
Was it anything just driving skills related, or was just outside drivers?
Outside drivers. Their driving skills seem to be fine. It's dealing with outside drivers.
Okay. That is actually one of the first topics I talk about in managing change and anxiety. One of the numerous things I went into when I speak with people for the last year or so. It got what point I addressed that the first time because, again, drivers are crazy. Like several weeks ago, I kept seeing, pardon me, pardon me, I kept seeing drivers go through the left turn, red light, and it bugs me each and every time because there's no reason to. And left
Right.
turns are very notorious. Like there's one of the first things that you cannot screw up for during, especially a will test, because they will eye you on when you have to do that. They're gonna make you do a left turn regardless. So that's pretty much one of the dangerous things. But what I kind of offer, and you will get more by signing up to our series. So with that, if that almost lost my brain of thought, but okay, it's here. One of the things is because you can't control that, but you can control yourself. You can control what you could do with it afterwards. And one of the things I do for my own end, that's something that might work for other people, but it could go different for everyone else. Again, everyone autism's not a one size fits all sort of thing, and that's perfectly okay. What I do is like if I see situations like that bus driver, like that bus driver or something, truck driver, yeah, I think of it as a bad chef in Hell's Kitchen. That you watch Hell's Kitchen, enjoy Gordon Ramsay cussing everyone out, and you look at that chef that messes up, or better yet, a chef that throws all this pasta into the garbage, just keeps messing up that pasta and getting to the point where now that kitchen is out of pasta for good for that for that night. I look at that and be like, I'm going to decide to cook better pasta so I don't end up like this chef in Hell's Kitchen. So I kind of reframe it. And so I watch out and be like, I'm not going to be like that bad driver. I'm going to do this and that. And if I screw up at any point, I have to admit I am responsible for that and I'm going to do better. Oh, no, the screen falls. I'm still here. I guess for now when he joins back up, you could post in the general questions. Keeping this open, so gonna improvise. While we wait for him, folks, feel free to. Oh, let me do that for you. I'm gonna post my website. I'm gonna post the website in the chat, so take a look at that. And then when we go on the website, look at overview that kind of shows over all the presentation topics. And there's also the schedule link you can look at. And for directly buying one of the series, we'll post that in here too. And I'm keeping my eye on emails when he returns. And then, oh, and when you go on the website, if you have any other questions, you can go on a contact page and that will go straight to me. He's coming back. And I'm also open to doing a 15-minute overview. So contact me if you're interested in that, and I will help you out on that end. Okay, I'll take it back to you. Let me know if I need to repeat anything. I just kind of improvise on the spot.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Oh.
I apologize. I ended up, it looks like we're having some Wi-Fi issues here and I got kicked off there for a minute. So thank you for continuing things.
All right, and I see a Q&A, and after this, I'm going to return the spotlight. How old were you when you were interested in driving? It took me a while. 2017, I was like 20 feet, yeah. I was about, like 20 feet, close to 24. And that's when I started, that's when I realized the urgent need for me to get that license. And I got my license when I was 25. Now I'm like 28, be 29 in July. It's kind of crazy time goes by. And this year will be like my 4th year driving when it reaches October.
Yeah.
Okay, you can take it away.
All right. No, that's all great. also, I want to go ahead and take a second. You may have already shared it there, but I want to make sure everyone knows your website so that people can go to and find the great resources that you offer is autismdriving.com. autismdriving.com. Go there. You also have a free guide that people can download that is phenomenal. You did a great job. Why don't you just take a minute and share about that guide and what that can do to help, and then with that.
Oh, will do. And I hope no one hears the Facebook notifications. I'm getting a couple,
Oh, you're
shows up.
good.
I posted the website on here. There was Richard asked for where to sign up, so I posted that information before. And again, if all of you have questions, please go on our contact page. And if you want to schedule a 15-minute Zoom with me, more than happy to do that. Like, there's been a lot of exciting ones. I have a lot of future projects coming up. I'm just kind of like finding that ground, and I want to make it a success throughout the year, and hopefully a couple more years as well. And then for, oh yeah, the ebook. When you go on the homepage, you can go to our downloadable ebook that kind of gives a good overview of what we do. We also encourage for the ebook is to do check out our series. It expands on what the resource guide has. And also, you'll also hear from myself and the numerous conversations. Each course, I pretty much drink coffee just before, so you'll get that extra experience. I actually had Starbucks just before this. Certain up because I've already had something early in the day, and I tried to find some drinks for my employer, Red Bulls, and Costco didn't have it, so I was disappointed. So
there you go.
I had that little bit of that kick beforehand.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, ebook is free. You can find it on the homepage. And it pretty much serves a kind of introduction to what we do and pretty much what I've kind of worked on over years. We do encourage, it's kind of like the first step before sign up for the series. So please sure to check out our series.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, why don't we do this? I don't know if you want to do it. We can go ahead. You can share your screen and share your website with us. And
yeah.
then we can,
I see it.
We can go through that. Show them.
Hopefully you won't see any notifications. April's a very busy month with autism stuff. And then I'm having so much coming up next week. This is where website, we go on homepage. Pretty much you can go right here and you can download it. You'll get like a little download link. And again, good introduction for what we do, especially for our program. So that, and then go over here. This is an actual quote from Temple Grandin. I wanted to have her on the board, but she's always doing something. Like if you know Temple Grandin, she does everything. So pretty understandable. But I was able to ask her to use a quote because know what she did, because like she did all the cattle work, she did all the animal work, and also the autism accuracy.
Yeah.
If she didn't learn how to drive, like those two career paths that she chose would have been a lot harder. Especially when she grew up from the 50s and 60s, where it was like a little bit of a different culture compared to now. And I think on her end for driving, she used like a farmland. She had like farmland through her family's end, and she drove around that. I could be wrong. On that, so just keep that in mind. But I was able to use that, so I was very happy. That, and again, overview, and also I'm business casual, by the way. You'll never see me in a suit usually. I really prefer business casual. Here, just gives you a bit more. I might change some of these names in the near future. But just kind of all in due time.
But those are all your
topics I tackle. Right? Yep, topics I tackle.
Yeah. So
like imagine parent involvement here.
So and the thing I want to drive home there, Andrew, like it's up there. Some of these are not just for the individual with autism; they're also for the parent to go through. You've got a whole one that you're talking straight to the parents. This one.
So yeah, we also open that at the same time. Just keep in mind that this is also mainly for new drivers. They're the ones who also get their license. We also open the parents again. Life happens, but at the end of the day, it is their new drivers that want to get their license. That's
Yeah.
pretty much the main series. And while I'm here, I'm also open for any other populations like learning disabilities or ADHD. I also welcome doing those, especially ADHD, because some of the characteristics like executive functioning, I do talk about that a lot in this series.
Yeah.
And then I do talk about how even sensory needs can apply to a lot of other populations as well. Yeah, it's kind of so it's almost like universal. While yes, we're autism focused, but we also welcome other populations as well.
Right. And now you've got a couple packages that you sell and people can purchase. Why don't you tell them about that?
Okay, package one, it's our basic. Think of it as the basic. It comes with training classes and has access to a resource library. Like you sign up for the website, you have like a login, and once you buy one of these series, you get access to our resource library. As of right now, it contains state information. Like you can get documents of each state. Like if you're in Connecticut, you'll get like a Connecticut state one you can search up because we fill out all the information, fill out the state you're in. And it's kind of like jumpstart. It's kind of like a jumpstart of where they look for Pacific DMV information. Their department's called differently in each state. Some really odd names, but it's kind of whatever. I'm used to calling the Department of Motor Vehicles or DMV.
Yeah.
Jumpstart. So that's here, and then package two, a bit more additional resources, and I'm planning to include hopefully more content in the near future for the resource library. You come with that, and you also get a free 60-minute consultation with myself, where at any point, either during the series or after the series, or even before, up to all of you, where you could schedule like a good 60-minute consultation with me in a Zoom environment and just kind of go over, just kind of get the wheel, to kind of get my teeth into kind of how you handle driving or what could be worked on or just like problem solving.
No, it's fantastic. So again, everyone who's watching, I highly recommend Andrew and his program. I've not found anything like this out there anywhere.
Thank you.
So, I think Andrew, you're about the only one that's doing this. This is fabulous. I've looked through a lot. We've talked a couple. You're passionate about this. I love it. And this, you might be based in Connecticut, but you actually will help anyone from all over the country.
Yep, all 50. Yep, I'm sorry, all 50 states. And again, you don't have to worry about state information in the presentations because, well, new drivers have to deal with that anyway. And also, if I try to research every state for the webinar series I do, I'd rather go on the hardest highways in my state and, and rather deal with that. But it also will bore me to death, honestly, looking up, because it's boring. Like, nothing to do with driving situations. So again, that's more up to the new drivers to kind of look up, which is one of the reasons we have a resource library where you could look up that state information. Also, to make my life very easy, again, I don't have to think about state laws. I may reference Connecticut on and off, either that or make fun of Connecticut on and off. but again, it's really just these content. This is what matters a lot more for the series and what more people are looking into, especially driving situations and be able to manage that, and then stuff like sensory as well.
I think that's phenomenal. And then, go ahead, talk about your blog. You've got some great articles on there.
Again, updated almost weekly as possible, like daily. Like most recent is best type of cars. And and be sure to read that one because the answer is not what you think it is. Because it seems kind of two-side only, like gas or electric, but I advise to read that one. It's a bit more, you will not expect the answer. And then this is a good overview of how we empower people. And we also go for various topics that also relates to the webinar topics. This one does motivation. I also have an older motivation as well, blog earlier, right here. I also do practical topics as well, tires. We do tires, how to deal with tires, because when tires go off, they cost a lot of money. And that's one of the things I mentioned a lot in my financial topic. A lot of times have to pay $500 for tires last year, and it still bugs me. It still makes me sour. It still makes me sour to this day. And we also have a guide on our premium services where you can get a lot more. And then we do something, we do snow. We also had something on snowy conditions, having driven snow a couple times. It knows, well, you have to go slow. Like if you think of going fast, you're setting yourself up for trouble. And also, I get a lot of the practical information, but also done in a autistic context. But also just making it making it just worthwhile for anyone to get any sort of value out of. And each one connects back to the main webinar series.
Yeah.
And I have a lot more planned up. I actually started one actually yesterday. So kind of we do doing a bunch more.
This is fantastic. So again, I think it's great. So make sure you check out Andrew's website, autismdriving.com, to learn more about this and everything that he does. Andrew, I've got another question that a mom just sent in to us for you. Her question is maybe a little bit more specific, but are there, driver ed programs or driving schools that you recommend in other states? Are you familiar with any programs in other states that work well with individuals with autism?
There's a lot more. It's more specific that I have to look at each day. That is kind of why for the webinar series, and it's something I hope to highlight more when time comes up. Like it's been a lot of exciting developments over time. Is that when you do this series, and it's something I want to highlight more in the next, hopefully a couple month or two, is like when you sign up for one of the series, regardless of whatever package you choose, at some point, depending on how the parents want it, like I go over what they can, I kind of look over, like I help you find local resources where you can like save money, but you don't have to go hours and hours of going to a specific program and make it more worthwhile. So pretty much when we sign up for one of these, I also will help out and find local resources. At the same time, I may not always know some of the schools, so it's kind of up to the parent and new drivers to kind of make judgments when they decide to go somewhere. Sure. Because each program is completely different, but again, we just help find the options are available and just kind of making the most out of them.
Sue just typed in a question, wanting to know, is there a time limit? So if they purchased like package 1, is there a time limit on completing that series?
It's weekly. But the moment that you buy some, you will get a recording. I record each session. Like if you miss, let's see, motivation right here. You miss motivation, and because I don't know, life happens, or maybe something come up, or it was a school thing. Life happens. So because you bought the series, you'll get a recording of this. Like the day after I do a live recording with myself, I'm the main presenter for all these topics. Like I email all the recordings to everyone the day after. So they have it, and they can download that and watch it how many times do they want. So in case, again, what happens, you'll still have a way to get enough you still have a way. And again, you paid for the series and you're pretty much entitled for that recording.
Another question that is coming up: what if you've got a child who's got autism already driving? Is there other education or anything just to kind of help them progress and continue to become better drivers?
Oh yeah, I actually had someone that already had a license, but they were interested in a couple of topics, and I welcome them to the program as well. Like if they wanted to show up for the managing changes or sensory processing, they could do that. They may not have to attend each one, but they can still get the recording. So if they decide to change their mind and want to watch, let's say, motivation, they could do that. Again, the program is pretty open to where anyone's at, regardless of whatever point they are at the driving journey. License or not, permit test or not, world test or not. Just kind of leave it open. Again, we want you to get not only get your license, and we also want you to be safe, good drivers and get enough out of this. But yeah, so we open that, and I was the second time this week I actually got that question. So, yep, we open.
All right. Well, this is phenomenal. Um, great information here that, I think a lot of times that parents just give up the hope that their child will be able to drive one day. And so, Andrew, I want to tell you, you can go ahead, stop sharing your screen if you want
Oh,
there.
okay.
We can go back so we can see you. I want to thank you for you stepping up as a self-advocate and seeing this need. And at the same time, I'm going to challenge all of our parents that are watching this, that we can dream for our kids and our individuals with any special needs or disability. Andrew has converted this into a passion and a career. How awesome is this? That's why as soon as, and Andrew reached out to me, he heard about us and shared that. As soon as I learned about Andrew, I truly did. I fell in love with what you're doing. And it didn't take me long to respond back to you and say, hey, I got to get you on and we got to let everyone learn about you. But parents, encourage your kids to be the best that they can. And do that. So Andrew, I want you to take a minute right now to anyone who might be watching this today or in the future who may have autism, might be on the spectrum, or may have another disability. What can you say to them to challenge them to become a self-advocate themselves, to find something that they are passionate about and then do that? What do you have to say to them?
Ooh, that is a really good question. Not driving Pacific, so you got me a good question. I'll give you that. I think one of the best things to just, again, speak from your own experiences. I see a lot, especially in autism circles, where they try to speak for everyone, but which is kind of ironic where we're more with autism communities. It's not one size fits all. Like, it just doesn't work because the community may saw all of this, but you have your own specific opinion. So that's kind of something to keep in mind. I've seen a lot of self-advocates get into that trap. Not always. There's some really good advocates out there. And yeah, so when you find a topic they're passionate about, like, don't speak for the whole community. That's one of the biggest, especially autism. Like this month, I've seen a lot that gives me a big yikes.
Right.
Yikes. So yeah, and just give yourself enough perspectives and for the love of God, don't push parents and professionals. Like, if you're trying to get stuff done, how are you supposed to when you push people away, even push advocates away? Like, you're not gonna get anything done. Pretty much straight out fact, and just kind of make yourself kind of toxic in that report.
Yeah.
Again, work with people. Even if you speaking to an organization you may not be a fan of, and just know that things kind of a bit more complicated, or people have very similar opinions and thoughts on a specific matter.
Right.
Like, find that passion. And part of me, I'm a workaholic, and a lot of the things I do is I just goes right to it, as with, I guess something could happen to me at any day. I guess that sort of mindset. It's like work for me is like something maybe to die for. I know that sounds a little out there, but it's like I treat this like very seriously, even for maybe cracking jokes every now and then. But it's like,
you're awesome. I
something
love
that gets me going.
You're doing great.
Hope that answers. I could also elaborate on a bit more of that if you want.
Yeah, no, you're good. Hey, I do have another question that Chad, one of our dads, just put in. And it's a fabulous question. I honestly didn't even think about it, and I'm ashamed I didn't even think to ask it. Is there any difference with insurance, with trying to insure someone with autism? Does that cause the rates to go higher? Do you have to tell the insurer that you have autism?
Hard to say. I can only speak from my own experiences, and I don't think my dad's saying anything. And it's kind of one of those, is if you want to disclose or not. I mean, that's a very different question on its own, and also a very personal question. It's like, don't have to. It probably depends on, might be something that might be worthwhile to look into in the near future. But if you do decide you have to mention, it's kind of up to you. And in case of insurance, you have to ask if it may screw you over or not. So that is another, I guess, factor to consider. Also the type of car, because I drive a Subaru Impreza, and my rates, and when I got that car a couple of years ago, they complained to my dad about the type of car. It's like more prone because it's like a race car. Not a race car, but it's like it's a fast car. And that kind of jacked up the rates a little bit. It got better. It got better last year, where I, I had like 3 years experience, and they finally stopped complaining about that when I got the car. So I think depends, but if you don't want a reason to screw you over, I think you don't have to. But again, it's entirely up to you.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah, just kind of again research the insurance company and probably go from there. And gut instinct as well, because you know yourself and you know your driver better than anyone else.
And honestly, I would say, most of the time, from my experience with individuals with autism, again, it's not going to be them and their driving, it's going to be those around them driving, which is the same thing for us who don't have autism. A lot of things there. So but this has been fabulous with it. And again, I want to encourage everyone to make sure they check out your website, autismdriving.com. Check out your resources that you have. We're coming up on the top of our time hour here and our time together. Let me just real quick kind of tell everyone about some of our upcoming things, and then Andrew, let me give you just a minute to think through. I'll just give you a final parting shot. Anything you want to share with our people that's kind of on your heart. But okay. First, our next Talk with Doc, we're going to take a couple weeks off. I'm going to be out of town speaking at a couple national conferences. First off, I'd love to have you join me in Cleveland next week. I'll be at Inclusion Fusion Live in Cleveland. That'll be a fabulous talk and conference there on disability. Please come join us and see that. We also host our own conference, the Wonderfully Made Disability Conference, which you see above my head. We have that in October, and we just opened our speaker proposals. We have tracks for families as well as tracks for ministries and organizations working with individuals with disabilities. So would love to have people put in speaker proposals. Our website for that is Wonderfully Made KC, like Kansas City, wonderfullymadekc.org. Go there and check it out. Put in your proposal. Would love to have you come. We are back in person. It'll be in Kansas City, October the 19th through the 21st. Our next Talk with Doc will be on May the 20th. And that talk is going to be on thriving single parenting. So many of our parents are single parents, and we actually have another nonprofit organization that we work with in the greater Kansas City area called Single Moms KC, and they're going to help us learn how, whether you're a dad or whether you're a mom, how you can thrive as a single parent. So parents, make sure you join us for that next one. Registration will go up for that tomorrow, and we'll have everything ready for that. So you'll want to make sure you join us. We're recording this talk today. We'll get that all put together and put it back up. I encourage you to share this with your families and friends. It'll be on our YouTube page as well. It'll be on our page, and then it'll be on the Driving with Autism page as well with that. But with all that, let me come back to Andrew. Andrew, again, thank you so much for giving up your time. Thank you for pouring all your effort into this amazing program that you're doing, helping multiple individuals with autism learn to drive. And as you said, even those with ADHD and some learning disabilities and things. So we're very appreciative of you with that. But just give me a parting shot. What do you want everyone to know about?
I guess anything that comes up. I guess the first thing that comes up, and one of the ways that I do get hyper focused in my drives, is video game music. No, I'm not kidding. I use video game music to help me hyper focus. And recently just got a plush from my employer, actually, of a video game series I like. out of nowhere, but also was very creepy just to see it on the hallway when I woke up a couple days ago. And the way it also was drenched in shadows, so surprisingly creepy for an April day. But I use a lot of that music just again give me a hyper focus. It lets me kind of do my thing on the road.
Yeah.
One of the ways to make me quick.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much for being a part of this today.
Thank you for having me.
Again, everyone check out autismdriving.com. And as always, we want everyone come soar with us. We'll see you all next time. Thanks, everyone.